Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the good old Southern IA. Get this seed tender unhooked from my truck. And we're gonna do that because we're done. We're done planting. And you're gonna be like, what? What are you talking about? Yeah, you haven't even replaced or released a planting video yet, Ben. And that's true. So this year I've decided to try out a format, and it's something that I might move the channel to in the future. I wanted to try and encapsulate all of a season into one long form video. I think I might have done okay with it. I can definitely do better, and I probably will learn better, but I just want to test this out with you, for you guys. Longer form videos that encompass a span of time instead of just one subject, which is kind of what the videos do now. This out, bear with me. I've got like 10, 11 hours into this video trying to get it edited up and put together for you guys. It's going to cover a lot of stuff. We're going to start out pulling anhydrous ammonia. There's a video on that. We won't get too far into it. The sprayer trailer build, recap it. We'll talk about burning CRP, about catching stuff on fire. We've got a Syngenta trial that we're putting in, and it's going to be a lot of fun to kind of like learn along with you guys this year on that trial. Then we also have corn planting, soybean plantings. There are some things that happen differently in there. Dad's auctions, part of this roundabout too, and then also we've got some spraying after we put the night kit onto the Hagie. So there is a lot of stuff that that goes into this video, and it's a long one. Buckle in. Let me know what you guys think about it. We're testing it out. Give me a thumbs up if you would. But in Southern Iowa, we're planted. I would say let's get to work, but let's get to recapping. Starting with anhydrous. After I get this seed tender unhooked, because we got rain coming tonight, which we desperately need. We need a rain. So let's go unhook this first. Okay, back this thing in and unhook it there. And for you that know the YouTube thing, that was just a little bit of a segue, so I could segue into the pull and smoke thing without me talking too much. That's why we really did that there. But we won't keep you too talk at you too much about pull and smoke, because there's a whole video on that. So I'll just let you guys listen to it for a second, because it's a beautiful sound if you didn't see the video. And in terms of breakdowns, the Quadtrac was my most expensive breakdown this year. It was like around $4,000, all because of a genuine Cummins part. And if you really want to know what that's all about, go to that video and watch it. It'll make you sick to your stomach. So, especially if you own equipment. Yeah, okay. But the next heart-stopping event in the spring of 2025 happened to be burning a little CRP. And I was trying to do a video on burning the CRP, but there's some people that they ask me about, you know, what is it like to YouTube farm and stuff like that. And I always say that a really good day of farming is a horrible day on YouTube, because it's the things when it goes awry. It was what makes really good content. Well, things went awry, and they went so awry that I wasn't worried about a GoPro. I got a little nervous there, got a little hairy. I was probably overreacting. I was overreacting. But yeah, here's a little bit of the CRP burning that we had to do. Pull out of here. But we got the water wagon back out. This is just a 300-gallon sprayer deal. That roller pump through a manifold, so I got a hose here. I can go back to a garden hose on a reel back there. It's basically kind of 2 nozzles on it to be able to put the water out. It did have a crack in it the other day.
There you go.
Oh, you're on iPhone. Look at this. Plastic welding with a soldering iron, soldering needle, or whatever. Trying to get this crack uncracked.
What are you using?
Zip tie. I might have touched this threads on this thing. That might maybe be a little bit of an issue. Get there. I think it's. Well, we had a minor issue, but you guys didn't get to see any of that. But it jumped in one spot and then absolutely exploded. We had to do some serious firefighting, but it's under control now. One more knob to burn. Hopefully that's the last thing we catch on fire on purpose. And don't worry, that was the last thing that we accidentally caught on fire. The rest of the project went really, really fine. Realistically, that was just a fluke thing that happened. Rototilled all the way around the outside of the burn barriers. We had good stuff that had backburns, but just flared up enough that it jumped into switchgrass in a slough, and the wind was in the right direction, and that slough grass just took off and burned really darn hot. So that's what happens. But you burn those because they're CRP and they're mid-managed contracts, and in the contracts the government wants you to burn them every now and then, or mid-management type of thing, for the people that don't know, which there's a lot of issues around here this spring because you're contractually obligated to burn them, but it was not a very good burning spring, just windy and dry. So we got that done. Then we moved into a tree project, which I'll show you guys a clip of it. But that's all you guys get to see on that. That project's still in the works, and we're still working on that. But we do have a tree clipping project coming up for you guys in the video. It's pretty darn cool. Gonna go around and put that tool to work. So that will be in some other videos. But that basically but that basically wrapped up all of my spring projects that I had going or started for us this year, in between the sprayer trailer. Did I talk about the sprayer trailer? I haven't talked about this. Did I talk about the sprayer trailer? Well, if I haven't talked about the sprayer trailer, we built the sprayer trailer too. And don't worry, that was... And that's in a video, which you guys will see it get used here later on, which it's been working fantastically. I don't know, I don't know if I talked about the video. But anyways, that's all the spring projects. And then we finally get a jump into bean planting. Well, welcome back to Southern Iowa, and first day of planting spring 2025. Just tilled up about 40 acres here this morning. This is ground that we're changing the direction that it's being farmed. So vertical tilled it after some fertilizer was spread last night. So this is tilled up. It's gonna go to beans probably tomorrow. tomorrow, and I believe there's a plot that's going in on this farm too. So that'd be my guess. So fingers crossed today we go park this tool and go get the bean planter, which I worked on yesterday. So it should be ready to rock and roll, and we go start putting beans in the ground.
Planting 2025 is a go.
That'll happen. Those guys are in there decent, I'd say. That looks pretty good with those chests. So I did a seed deal. So like that's where that's 1.5 inches, that's 2 inches there. I'm gonna give it a little more down pressure. But no tilling. We'll see how she does. We'll give it a couple acres. Today is the 9th. The 9th, which is last year started on the 8th, so we're 1 day behind, I guess you could say, if you want to say that. But conditions are just there. We won't get too far today. It's like probably only by the time we get done, I'm hoping maybe we get 80 acres in today. Maybe a little more than that. Just with getting everything started and set up, first day issues, and stuff along those lines. We'll see how far we can get. But the goal is put a lot of beans in the ground. The weather forecast looks pretty darn good for us. Let's see what we can get done. A little earlier here, and I realized that I didn't talk about that, or it's a little later than where you guys are in the video. I guess I really didn't talk about like why like I try and get these soybeans in early, you know, because there's risk that basically they can freeze off or not get a good stand or something along those lines. So the reason I do it early is the research will show that, you know, basically you have a better chance of yielding more if you plant earlier. You know, the longer your beans can be in the ground or start blooming before the summer solstice, the better off you are. So for me, what I've done 3 years now in a row has I bought up the insurance date, so basically I can start planting. The ground conditions are where I can plant basically, and I think I can start on March 30th. With that, I don't plant like a super low population that you hear some guys do. I'm planting 140,000, which is basically 1 unit per acre. A lot of guys are trying to lower their population because they can still get a stand. The planting 140 is kind of like an insurance for me that if I lose 40, 50,000 plants an acre, as long as they're not all in one spot, I'm still good to go and should get yield that I need. Or I still have max yield potential, supposedly. The other thing is I treat the seed, which you guys will be talking about seed treatment here in a little bit, which helps with these conditions. But with that plant buy-up, basically the replant insurance starts the minute you start pulling replanted acres. And I'll just replant right over a weaker stand of beans. So the reason why I try and go early is that I can get the beans in the ground quickly, and then basically have all the beans planted with an asterisk of after a hay cutting or something along those lines, and then I can focus on corn. So by doing this, I feel that it's a time management deal that is beneficial to getting higher yields, but then also being ready to go on corn, versus hopefully corn doesn't take it. Yeah, does that make sense? That's why I do it, and it's structured where basically the biggest risk I have is the time of doing the planting of the soybeans. Not a tremendous amount of financial risk in it, but the upside's big, and if I can, you know, get done with beans really quick, then go to corn. That's why I plant early. Now there's guys that, you know, go like super early. No, it's like I do this as a time management deal, and worked out good last year, got good yields, so going again this year. Doing a little bit different this year. I'm planting the soybeans a little bit deeper. That might hold them in the ground for a little bit longer, in case we do get a cold spell. But that's why I chase the early planted soybeans. Last pass of this field, first blot of the year is already in. So 2 strips there. Yep. First one's in. Or about. Move on to the next one. So I got Jake out here mowing. We're taking a hayfield out and putting it into production, but not doing all of it, like staying away from the trees and just kind of doing the flats of this field. So I'll have to burn it down, and I can see where it is right now because the planter's been there, but if I can't get here real soon and that grass perks back up, it'll be really hard to tell where to spray and not spray. So I'm just having Jake drive around the outside of the field with the lawnmower with the deck down, kind of creating myself a border so I can see it visually when I go to spray it. See if it works or not, but in my mind it should. So the verdict on the mowing is kind of okay. The issue is that I waited too long to come back and spray this, so I had to come back and mow it again to do this. The beans in this that you just saw get planted are there. That's the review we'll give them. I really thought that they'd have the same effect as like the cereal rye did, and I would say that I would agree with that. See these beans, they are searching for sunlight. They're long and lanky. I hope that slows down now that this grass isn't going to continue to grow anymore. Pull one for you. There's what I mean by long. See, they are long, the distance in between those, but I'm hoping that stops because they've just been reaching for sunlight. It reminds me a lot of when I've planted in the cereal rye. We'll play it by ear, see what else happens with it. So we are dodging rain clouds. They've actually hit us a couple of times. Like there's rain right there, and there's rain right there. So, but Zach from Syngenta is here. We're doing some trials with Syngenta again this year. We're putting in the seed care trial here today. We're gonna knock that out. But then also what we'll be doing is a better yield, better deal trial this year. Have Zach ride with me, and I'm going to be doing the better yield, better deal trial on corn, which we're obviously planting beans today. But Zach will ride with us, explain the better yield, better deal trial, but we're going to set up to put a Saltro trial in. Now, so we the Saltro trial, we're putting in a seed salt. Let me introduce Zach first here. So this is Zach, he's with Seek here, but he'll also be the one helping us with the Better Yield, Better Deal trial this year. But something we were chatting about is we're putting in a Saltro trial here right now, which Saltro is a soybean cyst nematode protection for us, so it's considered a nematicide, correct?
Yep.
And then also it will protect us against sudden death syndrome. So we're putting in a trial here today, got a turn, and we're racing the rain at the same time. But Zach and I were chatting, and you were saying, like, what percentages of, like, I thought it would be higher than this. What percentage of seed is being treated with like a product like Saltro?
Yeah, so only about 25% of the soybeans that go out are getting treated with a nematicide product, or Saltro Levo in the U.S., which has grown quite considerably. If you think about 2021, it was only about 18%, so it's growing about 3%. Annually each year, and we're seeing that growth. But relatively, if we're thinking about all the beans that are going out there and how big of a problem SCN nematodes are in every field, across every state, a very, very small percentage of soybeans actually are getting treated with a nematicide product like a Saltro or a Levo.
Yeah, and there's things that we'll probably chat about throughout the season, but like we were sitting here talking about even how hard it is to like go to a field and figure out if you even have nematodes in your field. And I just learned a second ago that during a growing season, nematodes can go through 5 life cycles. That 5 life cycles in one growing season. So that's kind of wild. And then you were saying Iowa State did some stuff where you can probe the ground and do a test and then walk 150 feet, and that 150 feet you'll see them and then you won't see them, or they'll be at crazy levels, and so it's hard right now to test if you have soybean cyst nematodes. Other thing that we're going to be doing this year and is a Better Yield, Better Deal trial, and I will be doing it on corn. And you wanted to explain what we're going to be doing with the Better Yield, Better Deal trial?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Better Yield, Better Deal trial initiative is basically looking at Syngenta crop protection products from the start of a growing year to the end of the growing season. So what Ben's going to be doing is doing some herbicides, Syngenta herbicides, Storin followed by Halix, and then our fungicide, Mirabis Neo, and kind of comparing that to what Ben usually does with his normal herbicide, fungicide program. Basically the idea of that is kind of show better yield is the better deal, and getting more bushels out of a Syngenta crop protection portfolio from the start of the season to the end of the season. And really, like I said, just kind of challenging assumptions. We kind of think about premium products and the price, and they got to pay off. They got to have a return on investment. So really excited about the initiative because it kind of puts our money where our mouth is and kind of tries to show those differences from, like I said, the start of a growing season to the very end.
And that trial will be interesting for us because even with our current weed control program on corn, we've been 2-pass for, I've never done a 1-pass program, but we've been a 2-pass program for a long time. And we're even changing that up a little bit this year to try out some more chemistry to try and hold back some of these weed issues. So we'll be able to see a premium product versus kind of, I guess you could say, a program that we've ran for a lot of years. The other thing, though, back to the Saltro stuff, was we were chatting about, like right now we're testing Saltro with Cruiser Max Apex against leading competitors, I guess you could say SCN, SDS protection product, to see what those two are heads to heads. But I should have thought about this, was that I should have just tested the Saltro with Cruiser Max Apex and then just not treated. But I don't have a trial out there this year for this. But you said that you guys last year did like 50 trials.
Yeah. So we actually had about 70 trials out last year, and a lot of those trials were mainly in Iowa, but Nebraska, Kansas, Minnesota. And the point of those trials was to do a base treatment and then a base treatment plus Saltro, and kind of show the benefits of Saltro, even in the absence of SDS and not really knowing or understanding what our SCN pressures are. So we did get 52 of those back. So pretty great year when you think about, farm trials and a good data set. And we showed in those trials that we were getting about a 3.3 bushel increase. So when you think about what Saltro costs, you know, you're getting a still pretty good net return on your investment there with Saltro, and that's because of that adaptant molecule. You know, we're seeing good plant health benefits, you know, better root systems for water and nutrients uptake. We're also seeing more canopy vigor, and you know, that means a lot, especially when we think about our standability, and as weed control gets harder, obviously getting quicker to canopy, you know, those are some hidden savings that we don't think about, you know, on top of that. So yeah, I saw some really significant stuff to kind of prove last year that, you know, even though we might not see SDS, we don't know that on a year-to-year basis, we don't quite understand or know what we're dealing with SCN, that we're still seeing a yield increase by having Saltro on our seed treatment.
That's something that you know, I've tested products like this basically since the launch of products like this, and we have not significantly seen sudden death syndrome since then, which is like something that I'm very happy about. But on the, like, if I was wearing his shoes, like, I would be unhappy about, because like realistically you'd like to see it out there so you can see how things are actually going to perform, like with a natural like disease pressure, even though as the producer you'd rather not see that. Oh, gotta turn again. Boy, let's see how long we missed this one. We've had every season today. It's like it might snow here at some point. What I was saying is that, like, I've tested it with the treatments, but it's something that I hadn't tested was with the Saltro and then just a base treatment. I've always tested like a full treatment versus like an untreated seed, and I've always seen the return that at least paid for the seed treatment, even when it got into like the later planting into the season. I always saw the return that would pay for it. So it makes you feel even better, because in terms of the base treatment versus when you add the Saltro is the higher dollar product when you're adding it to the treatment. To know that, you know, hey, you're seeing the yield bump there, that makes you feel as good as the producer. But I might need to go get Zach to his truck, because the rain clouds are coming. In the way of the world of YouTube magic, the field that you guys were seeing planting, Zach and Carter, which you guys haven't met yet, we are out here in the beans, and there's the split. They're emerged and stuff like that, along with smallmouth weeds. So we got to get out here and spray it here soon. But we're gonna look at some stand counts.
88. 87.
88. And so that means I got 88,000 emerged here.
Yeah, and what'd you get?
87.
So 88 and 87, so, all right.
It was planted at 140.
And we'll go do the Saltro. We're gonna do another one, I think, just to be fair.
Okay.
We'll do another one here, and then we'll go over and do another Saltro. Ben, I'll have you pick the next one we do.
Oh, like where the row is?
Yeah.
So here's how I do this. Let me see your knife. This is how YouTube people know it's real. Whatever that lands between.
There you go.
This side's a little bit better, 110 and 114, which means that we're going to have a stand of 112.
Yeah.
So if we took 112 and 87 and a half, divide those by 2, or I'll add those together.
9.75.
Okay, 99.75. I'll take that 100 count final stand. That's max yield potential right there.
And we'll go over yonder.
Now we'll go to the Saltro side. So plant date on this farm, for you guys to want to know, is the 10th, April 10th. So that's plant date on this. And the hybrid, the soybean number on these guys is the same, and it's a 3.7 soybean.
108.
110.
It's 109. You want to give me your deal?
Yep.
Give you your toss?
Yeah. I'll
So-
do that one, Matt.
So off the start, that's already 10,000 more plants ish per acre. $96 and 100 is 98. Which where this landed was this one is in a
Beat up.
this one's in a pretty beat up spot. So one of those was pretty, and there's two that are coming still.
Yeah.
1, 2, if I don't know if you got those or not.
Some of them I counted them. They was cotyledons out of the ground.
That one might still have a little bit working on it. It's like that one of those rows, which that's what we're doing. This is trying to be as fair as possible, so that's where it landed. But that one is a little beat up. If he would have went to these 2 rows, I'm guessing it would have been a lot closer to the 100 and 100. So what did that one end up being?
103.5 in total on the Saltro Apex, and then obviously we did 99.75 on the last one, so about a 4,000 difference. But
4,000 stand count difference.
yeah.
So, and I'd probably say that we could probably fudge up the Saltro one a little bit if it would have landed near a little bit better of a row. But we got 4,000 more plants. Basically, both have reached to max yield potential, but we do have a little bit better of a stand. But now we'll dig up the plants. Right there. Huh?
There's a seed.
Yeah, I did rip some off.
Oh, I was very, 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 very gentle.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be able to put these up if you got a board with you.
Yeah, I do have a board in the back.
So we'll try and keep those. But there is the Saltro treatment on there. You can look at that. We got 1, 2, 4, 5. So you want to tell us what the Saltro is in the Saltro here?
Yeah.
Which I think we already talked about that in the beginning in part of this video, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, but there's the Saltro, and what you can really see. The expressed is you want to tell them about the cotyledons,
Yeah,
what they can look at.
yeah.
We'll go grab some of the other ones so you can see the difference. Actually, let's just walk over there,
Yeah.
so we can point it out.
Well, we'll point it out like almost right when we get to the split.
Yep.
We can almost see immediate differences almost right away in the cotyledons, and that's because, you know, with Saltro we don't see that phytotoxicity compared to our competitor. And when Ben and I walked out here, we got to our split, and almost immediately within a step we could see the difference there in the cotyledons and that stressor that's on the plant compared to Saltro that doesn't have
Which
that. So,
right here is our split, and you take one step in, and you can already see. What you want to just dig up those 2 right there?
Yeah. Phytotoxicity on that treatment, obviously we have some burnt cotyledons, and we should see, because of that extra stressor that soybean's going through, and that's going to play in.
I'm going to set these guys down.
That's going to play into later, obviously, root mass development, and you know, they'll come out of this cotyledon burn, but again, that's something early on now that we got to deal with as a stressor for that crop to come out of now. And we'll see all kind of season long because of that difference in root mass and root size. So, and that's where a product like Saltro that doesn't have that extra stressor tied to it, we see performance differences as well, because like I said, we kind of eliminate that stressor with a product like Saltro.
These might be ones that we don't use the roots on, because they're
a little
bound
bit
together.
smaller.
But
We'll dig one
at least. But what we're going to look at, what he's talking about with that is, if you want to show him the cotyledons.
Yeah.
Here's what he's talking about with the cotyledons. Those are that's actually, the cotyledons are the actual soybean themselves. Those are the first 2 leaves, if you even want to call them leaves, which I don't even really know if they're technically leaves or not. But you can see this halo on the beans, this brown stuff on those. That's what's expressed with the competitor versus the Saltro one. It doesn't have that. So you can kind of look at those 2 there, and there's the visual difference in between the 2 above ground right away, what you can see. So with my herbicide program, there won't be any extra like stresses to the soybean plant, but you were talking about, you want to just explain that?
Yeah, so a lot of farmers use a PPO herbicide as a pre on their soybean emergence, and sometimes we see a splashing effect or potential extra stressor then on those beans that could have damage on those seedlings as they emerge up, compared to products without a PPO. So for Syngenta, like Tendovo, that is dual metribuzin and first rate, that doesn't have that PPO, we don't really see that stressor. So when you couple that with Saltro, that we don't have that stressor stressor and a non-PPO herbicide, you know, we're getting a really nice start with no stressors that we're self-inflicting, compared to using a PPO and potentially seed treatment that can have those negative effects. So when we use those together, it really exacerbates that damage that we cause and that stress that that plant has to grow through, compared to choosing a solid seed treatment that doesn't have that damage, or a non-PPO herbicide that is basically healthy and gets these plants off to a good start.
And you were doing a seed day yesterday, and you were seeing what was the stand difference in between the two?
Yeah, so we saw about a 30,000 stand count difference, and yeah, we had about a 95,000 plant stand compared to about 122, 123. Our planting population at that plot was 136. So when you talk about your stand loss there and your seed loss,
that's quite a bit.
It's pretty significant. A lot with farmers choosing PPO for weed protection.
And that's something that I didn't ever think about at all. So something I learned today with you guys.
Not huge significant differences, but when you look, and this is the big thing I guess I'd highlight, is we got consistency here. Or do you want to?
No, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, so like we got consistency here with the Saltro. You can kind of see the cotyledons, again, really healthy green, taking in good sunlight. We see a little bit more root mass here in a couple plants, but look at the consistency across all of those 5 that we did and different root digs we did, compared to we come over to here, and like I said, we don't have as much root mass. We got one here that's pretty good root mass.
I would say definitely the root mass is here.
Yep.
There's the root mass is definitely there.
Yeah, and that will kind of be in effect all season long, and part of that's because, again, you see all 5 of these, again, consistent, or like we got smaller, gets bigger, you know, it's kind of across the board. And like I said, these plants have to come through that stressor and recover that damage, so they got to focus on recovery.
If you like look at the leaves on these guys, I would say that these guys are behind a little bit, even, you know, I'd say that not by much, but like I'd say that those are just a little bit further along, not by a significant amount right now, but
it'll be interesting as the season develops and we have that extra root mass. What's that going to mean for getting more canopy and getting more pods, especially with weed control, getting the canopy faster, because obviously we want to get to canopy as fast as possible, as weed control is pretty hard in soybeans nowadays.
That's going to be fun. That's basically I'm standing in the corn that the BYBD trial is also in, so that is something that I'm actually learning as a producer and taking you guys with us here. So this is some of the corn that is part of that trial, which you guys will be learning about in another couple videos or so. So this looks good to me. So we're going to be learning about that, and you guys will learn more about it here soon. On the flip side of that, though, we were able to basically shove all those soybeans in the ground really darn quickly. April 15th. So April 15th, I kind of had a good slug of soybeans in, and something that was different this year was that I planned on planting the corn with the 3605, 12 rows at a time. I missed a 24 row, to be honest. After that, I mean, it did a really good job, but man, the hours that I would put into that tractor and only be able to get, I'd get like 100 less acres compared to the 24 row. In a day, and with really long days. So the 24 row, but Dad was running a 24 row, so we was planting with 12, so we were covering 36 rows of planting corn, I guess. So a lot of corn got shoved in the ground, which is what we're headed into now, is to flip that planter over and get going on corn. Sounds like my help is on the way. Wonder if this will just dump into there, if it will. I'm gonna go with one of the middle boxes. I gotta empty this. The guy should really use the chute that's provided. The guy's gonna grab the chute that's provided. Damn, I might be in a pickle. Here's the chute that's provided. I'll use it on that side for sure. Alpha Pro Box works really well for cleaning out planters too, by the way. You can hear the monitor beeping, saying it's out of seed. Only on one side though. Hopefully I got enough room in this box. Now I gotta see if I can remember how to do this. So I think that I gotta turn off the airbags to the front, which I believe is this one. So if I do that, I think I can push and pull this off so those airbags deflate. I don't know how to really do this. Okay. And then I also need to uncouple the front drive, which I believe is that. No. Oh, so now I'm looking for the plugs for each one of these row units so the air doesn't come to them. Got to clean out the tanks and then change all the meters. And Jake should be here shortly. These are the air seed blockers because the air seed delivery works where it creates a low pressure zone, and the low pressure zone is out, so that's what pushes the seed to it. High pressure to low pressure, hot to cold, science principles back in the day. So you're eliminating the low pressure zone when you do this, so therefore it won't push any seed to these pusher units. Then we just flip these over, which now I'm in the shadow. Take the bean meter off, put the corn meter in, push it back on, put it back on the row unit. So disengage the chains, airbags turned off, lift up the row units, block the air seed delivery. I think that's, and then change the meters. I think that's pretty much what flips it. All right, morning, we're back. Filling the planter, starting out with bags. There it it is, up and running. Jake's finished doing some tillage. Andrew's gonna take over for that here shortly, and then he'll go keep tilling. There's luckily kind of have, there's probably 2, 3, 4, there's probably about 500 acres tilled ahead of me right now. And one of the next farms that I go to is actually, I'm going to no-till into it actually too. So, so I got plenty of tilled dirt to go, which last year was an issue of running out of tilled dirt. So I was actually looking to purchase a tillage tool this spring, but hadn't come across one. I went and looked at, I was looking at a reel disc, which I didn't think I really wanted one of those, but it was cheap. Looked at a diamond harrow, and then I guess I wouldn't mind another Landau, honestly, but having something that was a little bit different, so you didn't have two of the same exact tools. I looked at field cultivators. Had one that I was really interested in, but the guy was too high priced. So, and I was not 100% sure what how field cultivator would do on stubble that was no-tilled into. So like old bean stubble that had corn stalks from 2 years ago, because you no-tilled the beans into it, and all had been done is pulled anhydrous. Wasn't sure how well that'd flow through a field cultivator. So the hunt might continue. We're gonna probably make it this year without getting another tillage tool bought. Keep my eye out and see if I can find one during the summer or something like that. Well, we got a poor man strip tilling going on. No tilling anything in Anhydrous tracks. Well, trying to. The implement drift's pretty wild, but it's sometimes on the road. It's like a 50% of the 100% of the 70% of the 20% of the time. So, but other than that, going in, the thing that stinks about the 12 row is when you want to just do a quick little hybrid test here, testing a GT corn versus a workhorse hybrid, see how they perform against each other. I've got to have an empty planter versus just splitting the sides. Still works. So there's my poor man's strip till corn. If you guys can see this. Chemical program is definitely starting to break. Chemical program's really starting to break everywhere right now. Probably, if we can catch this rain that's supposed to be coming tonight, tomorrow, we forecasted up to like 3 inches. Pretty sure that I'm gonna need to go start thinking about some second pass. It's like this corn's gonna jump, it's gonna hit the nitrogen, and yeah, there's weeds coming into this. So gonna have to come up with a second pass on this here real soon. Lose a tillage pass, kind of something that I got to figure out. Something that I also have been considering is trying to maybe find a dual placement bar, and maybe doing some more of this if I got into like an implement guidance situation. If I could do this, I don't know if I want to commit to something like that completely, but I don't know. We got some work here to do, but that's what I tried to do. And it's like if the implement guidance could help in our hills, that's the implement drift is significant on us. So, but we kind of planted into the strips in some places. It's like those guys are in the strip and they look really nice. The weeds also look pretty nice next to it too. Got to get this grass taken care of. We'll do that real soon. So last night, 1, 2, 3, 4, I was having a problem with hose row unit number 4. I kind of took it apart in the field last night, but it was dark. Now it's sprinkling on me. Go figure. And it was getting skips. So it was like acting like a seed flow issue, and I couldn't get it figured out last night. Okay. This trap.
Can you guys see in there? 'Cause I can't.
Unless there's something actually in the tank. I'm hoping it might have been the sensor just getting dirty. Good, now that I'm completely covered in graphite and talc, I can eat my breakfast burrito for the morning. Winning. How's that for like 2012-ish? Burrito time. Dang, I didn't either microwave it long enough or it's gotten cold since I made it. I don't know what time it is. I made it at about 6:15 this morning. Oh, it's been an hour. It's cold already. Eat your burritos faster. Lesson learned. So, finishing this up, putting in check strips here, checking out a couple of hybrids. Something that I'm doing a little bit different, or I am doing again this year, is we're planting straight on top of the anhydrous strips. Used up top here, we had up top we got the TerraStar X globe unlocked for this, so I did that. Well, the value in that this year, I definitely think I'm gonna pull anhydrous with it. I'm planting on top of it with my anhydrous I'm planting on top of it with the planter right now. So there's some people who think you shouldn't do that, but big easy, what you know, but so but the anhydrous, from what I read about that, is like with a deer high-speed bar or something like that doesn't put the anhydrous very deep. That's an issue, but this anhydrous is deep enough that it won't be an issue. So planting right on top of the nitrogen, and so I just basically recall my lines, which I can't show you because we're driving right now, but recall the lines, nudge, since that was a odd row bar, so it's a 19. I nudge it over 15 inches, and I'm on top of an anhydrous strip. So about got this field knocked out, putting in a check strip here. These were two higher yielding hybrids from last year, so throwing them head to head, I end up with a little bit of a trial on about every field that I plant. So when you kind of go to run out of seed, I kind of throw myself in check strips. So see if what I'm thinking is the right thing to be thinking. Does that make sense?
When the lights come on and the beer taps flow, and I hear the crowd singing Life of a Rolling Stone. When hell freezes over and the vandals are worth a damn, that's when I'll see you again. when pigs begin to fly and there's peace among men. Standing for something is no longer a sin. When the sun comes out and I crawl out of my den, that's when I'll see you again. Hell must have got pretty damn cold, and who would have thought that the Vandals would win a bowl? When I look out tonight, all I see are my friends.
Well, we're broke down. This first breakdown of the planting season, really. I gotta figure out why it's happening, but it is completely messed up that sprocket. So hey, what you gotta do is take the chain off. So there's a tensioner, there's a poly tensioner. Here, just take the row unit off. There's a poly tensioner. Well, just engage that, yep. There's a poly tensioner. Yeah, I think you're good. So there's a sprocket slide. That shaft has been, it keeps pushing like it doesn't throw right or something, like it gets bound. This one's loose. I'm broken over here too. We might be able to slide this one that way. These aren't the same parts. We're gonna have to steal them off of a row unit, aren't we? It has to have the sprocket with it. I thought the sprocket just was like there, you know? Okay. I have to go steal a couple of sprockets off the front end. Give it a touch with a foot or something, I can't get the slide. There we go. Yeah, I need. One of the really awesome things about the Kinsey planter is that it comes with 12 corn row units on the front end of it, and then if one of your corn row units breaks, they luckily put 11 part units on the front of it when you're planting corn, so you can steal all your parts you need from the front to put onto the back. I already robbed one from here. I might go rob the same one. I've got a feeling there's another one just identical on the other side. It'll make it easy for us to put back on, but there's the split one, 9/16 and the ratchet. I'll take this, this works. Donor part number 2. Note to self, replace those bearings before you go plant beans. How long do you think that took us? Take a guess. How long is that?
Half.
An hour. That was an hour breakdown. Hour breakdown was that was. That's not bad though for what it was. All right, clean her up, organize those parts, greasing this grease gun for me. I'll go keep planting, and we'll be back here in a minute. We're getting close to needing to fill. For that kind of breakdown and to be back going within an hour, I'm very happy about that. And it might be like a little confusing, hold on, turning, why you can take those steel parts off the front is, well, obviously you're not using them, but then when you switch it to corn, you completely disengage the front, so there's nothing spinning. So it's all just now hanging out there. So we had rain coming, and it cooled off when I finished there, so it was time to try and go get some pre-immersion down before what was Easter Sunday. So we went to spraying. Spraying time. We're gonna test out the new sprayer trailer. It's well, I've gotten a good chunk of crop in the ground, but I could be planting today. Dad is planting actually. But what am I trying to say? Get my brain to work here. Hold on. Actually, Molly and I did the math. Well, Molly, I don't know if I did the math or Molly did the math. But basically, I have either 52 or 56 hours in a tractor cab in the last 3 days. So my brain still isn't working very well. So I planted like 10 acres this morning, and then tomorrow, Sunday, Easter, it's supposed to rain and be chillier, so I stopped planting. I really didn't want to shock the corn with a cold rain, so I decided to pull out, and I'm gonna go try and spray, get some acres covered here before this rain coming. That way if we end up raining for like a week or something like that, I don't have issues with getting stuff sprayed. There'll still be a lot of stuff that's not sprayed unless I have a night kit on the Hagie. I don't know. So we, Jake and I have de-winterized it here this morning. Looks like it's gonna go. Looks like the new controller system's gonna go. Hopefully the sprayer trailer works correctly. We were trying to get water, ran out. I really wasn't planning on spraying today, honest to goodness. What actually happened is I really believed that, so I got done after midnight last night, and I looked at my phone to look at the weather for Sunday, right? Or for the next day. I went to look at the weather for Saturday, which is the day, but I didn't realize that today was last night, and therefore the S that I was looking at for the next day was actually Sunday, so I thought it was supposed to be raining right now. Capiche? Let's go see if we can load a sprayer. So, this tank has been running. Here's my little doodadder, badabber-deeber. There you go, look at that. Disconnected from the tank already. So this is the sprayer trailer build. If you guys haven't seen it, we're loaded up. We're gonna go test it out. We'll go take it across the road. I'll find somewhere for you guys to sit. See if I can't lose you as I move. Oh look, we made it. It was a very far journey. One thing that's going to be nice is with this tank and being up higher in that truck, you can actually see around it, but the other way you can see around your tender, like your trailer, like at all. So that's good. Got the ladder to get up. Look at that. Undo the holder down here. Comes out. Oh, got water on me. Down. We're off to a rip and start. The end fell off of the electrical connector. Yep.
Water now. Is there water going in there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we're pushing on water. Okay, go turn that motor on. Here's this easy cutter deal. The blade comes off. Oh, dang. That's too nice. Alright, so you guys missed the first load of the year, getting used to having a, you know, boom that's 90 feet, which is not really industry standard, a large boom, but going 10 plus mile an hour across the field, and a new monitor and everything. Yeah, first one of the season, kind of made sure that I didn't screw something up, but Molly's gonna fly the drone, and we're gonna kick on the night spray kit here soon, because it could be the last load for like a week or so, according to the forecast. And here we go. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, keep it cool, keep it cool. Nope, it's like I'm driving in Star Wars. I have laser beams on the tip of the sprayer. Look at that. How cool is that? Oh, yeah.
Start me up, open my eyes, turn me loose, and you'll see why. I was born ready. I was born ready. Staring at the pressure now. I won't quit, not backing down. I was born ready.
So that next morning after spraying, and actually the drone footage got cut short because my hired drone helper, aka Molly, crashed it in the middle of the night, so that was really fun to go see. But we went on a 10-day rain delay, and we never really ever got a tremendous amount of rain. We always just kept getting like 2/10 or 3/10, but it was a 10-day rain delay. And what you guys were seeing there at the very intro of the video, the rain that were coming, we came up with just shy of 2 inches of rain. Great rain that came in for us. But on that rain delay of 10 days, we were able to take care of two things. The new tile plow that showed up, we got it all assembled and hooked up to the Quadtrac. So that's in a video, but she's a beaut.
Not a bad looking unit.
And then Dad's auction. So Dad's auction happened at that time, and that's when I bought the tractor based upon what you guys were telling me to, which was the one that I learned to drive, and there's a video on that as well. Negative. Okay, let's put the charger on that. Give it a little snort. So after the rain delay, we were able to get back to work and finish up the corn, which one of those was the pumpkin patch. The tale of the missing GoPro batteries. So you guys are on my iPhone today. But it's the last day of corn planting, and I'm switching to a Smart Stack Pro because we're headed to the pumpkin patch, and that's going to be corn on corn. And I want to be able to spray it with Liberty because the other corn that I planted last year was not Liberty ready. So we got to clean it out. I've already dumped the bulk tanks, but I'm going to run this here, which should start my hydraulic drives at some point, supposedly. This is a good chance to lubricate my chains too. I'm gonna go do that. So now I gotta load up. This is a Smart Stacks Pro. It's 112 day. It's an AgriGold product actually. And this is, if you see this, 65.7 pound seed. That's basically a marble, but they call it a medium round. We'll see if the Kinsey likes it or not. That's some big seed. Does that mean big bushels? Oh, that's a pretty expensive screw up. I think that's like a $300 bag corn. That is like my most expensive corn this year. And it's really important to close the bottom of your hoppers before you put a bag of corn in. Son of a gun. Well, after that expensive experiment about making sure it's necessary to close the bottom of the bulk tanks, we're down the road. I don't know if that's flashing on you guys or not right now, but we are planting here. And this is the pumpkin patch. Right now you can see we're planting 17,000.
because what we got going on is that this section right here is going to be the corn maze this year. This is kind of like a puzzle to plant every year. So I've got to checkerboard this, so I'm going north and south right now, but then I'll go east and west. But I don't want to turn around on all the corn that I've planted, so I've just bordered it so that I'll plant this section and this section last. That way it's not planted and I'm turning around on it all again. But all this is getting checkerboarded again. So the maze will be right through here this year. This here boxed out is the where it's going to be a little over 2 acres of the pumpkins this year, and then that's the zinnias and sunflower section. And then we had to expand play area for more activities, plus we're building some animal stuff for the year, like pens and things along those lines, trying to turn and drive and everything else here. So we're gonna build some animal pens. We leased a barn next to us this year, which we don't have that leased again, unfortunately. I actually tried to buy that acre, but didn't work out. So we're gonna have to build like more permanent animal place. Plus, this year for the pumpkin patch, I think we're adding paintball guns and a putt-putt course. So, and then there's a couple other things that I think we might be adding too. But we need more space. So we got to our visitors' goal, but that also means that we're probably going to exceed our visitors' goal going forward. So we need more space, which I'm good with. You know, the goal for this 30 acres is basically to use the whole thing for agritourism at some point in time. But there's my map that I'm using. That's not confusing, is it? No? Okay. So yeah, there you go. That's what I'm using to put this corn in here at the pumpkin patch. Yeah, not confusing at all. There it is, 2025 corn. Done. Got it. Woo! Oh, yeah, Instagram. So yeah, that planted all of the corn. We've got some volunteer pumpkins. We got a lot of volunteer pumpkins, actually. Look at all those volunteer pumpkins coming up. This is I can't remember how many days later now. Let me look on my phone real quick for you guys. 5/6, and today is like the 18th. Yep, so 12 days later. Really? Yeah, 12 days later. So this corn came up out of the ground really darn fast, and so did the volunteer pumpkins after tilling it. Needs rain, but this is my first ever corn on corn here, which this is not a good spot because it's actually in a pumpkin, so you can't really tell that it's corn on corn. This is where the old pumpkins were. I'll show you guys the residue that I was planting into and see what you guys think. I think it actually, I got the residue managed pretty decently. There, this was what the residue looks like that was left out there for corn on corn. So this is my first corn on corn. This was chisel plowed in a video that you guys saw last fall. It was chisel plowed up. Then I vertical tilled it twice, and this is what the stand that I've got. My program out here is there's 200 pounds of smoke, and then another basically 20 to 30 units of nitrogen in dry form on this crop. So we're sitting at like 230 units of nitrogen on this corn. Yield goal on this crop here is probably farm averaged 200 to 210 is what I would like to grow out here. It can grow, last year we were harvesting like some 270 bushel corn off of this. So it is
off to a good start. So if that sounds like a good corn on corn program, let me know in the comment section, because this will be the first corn on corn that I'm gonna do. I'm thinking second pass, I'll come back with a Liberty and get rid of all the volunteer corn. That'll also kill all of the pumpkins that are growing where the pumpkins were last year. Along with other herbicides, we'll take care of the pumpkins that were growing where the pumpkins are growing last year. So, yeah. But if you're wondering what the corn looks like in the corn maze, there you go. You got rows going that way, and then you also have rows going that way. So it's checkerboarded out through here, and it will get the maze mode into it here at some point in time. That'll probably be up on the Pumpkin Patch channel if Molly makes a video about it. But that gives you an idea of this, plus ask you guys about growing corn on corn. If it works good, I might grow some more corn on corn next year. The other thing that I want to go quickly take a look at with you guys and show you guys is some of you might be wondering about what else do we have planted here? Oh, apple trees. So the apple trees have been worked so far. I need to put some fungicide onto them. That's supposed to be showing up tomorrow. I'll get those sprayed down, but show you what we've done with the apple trees real quick. So this is the orchard, part of the orchard. This is actually like more of the,
This is the top orchard.
this is the top orchard. This is more of like the heirloom style apple trees. They're looking the roughest compared to our bare root trees. They look bigger, but they're looking
a lot better than they did last year.
they're looking better than they did last year. So, but what we did with them, so this is year 2 with the apple trees here. What I've done to take care of them so far this year is Jake and I have gone around and hoed out, not too deeply, all the way around in a circle around every tree to get any of the volunteer or any of the competitive grasses away from the roots. Because from what I read, again, if you know more about apple trees, let me know in the comments. The roots are about as wide as the branches kind of are, so there's where we went out with that. And then I took about 1 pound of 12-12-12 fertilizer and I put it in a strip all the way around the outside. So basically right where my dudes are, this is where this fertilizer strip was put. And then we came back and we put a little bit of mulch, or not mulch, compost. So cow manure, compost combination in a ring around the tree. Probably leave it that way for a little while, and then we'll mulch. We'll come by and we'll probably work the dirt a little bit with the hose again. 25 days or so, something along those lines, if they start to get weedy up.
Big apple, look at that.
And then yeah,
Look at that guy.
so apparently we're getting some apple sets, which we're not supposed to let the trees get apple sets. So I'm gonna have to go through and delete apples, because right now we're focused on
Tree growth. Not
tree growth. And the other apple trees down here are looking really good, but the deer got one of them. We had a tile tube take off and run through there. It smoked like 2 of them, and then the wind actually did just snap off a few trees, which is crazy. Snapped off the pole and the tree that was bracing it. So we basically had 8 real casualties, and then I flipped out a tree that it was kind of snapped off and it started growing again. But of the 90 trees that are in this orchard, that's 10%. But other than that, 5 years we'll have apples. So that finishes spring. We are glad to be done, glad to have a crop up, but we've started on other projects through here, and more to come on that for you guys here soon. But you'll have to let me know what you think of the video. That does not look like 5 ton of rock. Did you like it? Did you fall asleep in it? What'd you think?
That's gonna take all day. We'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.